Okay, the City of Marine City Commission meeting is called to order on Thursday, May 4th at 7:01 p.m. May the 4th be with you. And now, can we have a moment of silence to send our positive thoughts and prayers to those in our community that need our support? Okay, now join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get roll call, please?
Commissioner Bryson.
Here.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Here.
Commissioner Hillfrank.
Here.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Commissioner Rourke.
Here.
Commissioner Ross.
Here.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Here.
City Manager Adkins.
Here.
Okay, moving on to item 4, approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with one change, that we move 11H, the Maritime Days request, up to 10A, so that we can get them in and out ahead of time.
Support. I have this, but that's it.
All right, and have a motion and support. Just on the discussion item, you want to also remove item 11F off of the agenda for the clerk contract?
Oh, yep, I'll add that to my motion to remove 11F, city clerk contract.
I'll still support.
Okay, and motion and support, and any further discussion?
Yes, I do. I have some concerns with the agenda today and the lack of communications. We had a letter that we received on March 25th that a gentleman from Lexington wanted to be entered into the record and read just like every other letter that has been sent to this city. And our attorney has the opinion that that letter may violate a severance agreement that we have with a former employee. I don't agree. I think it's dangerous to mess with the First Amendment. I think that freedom of speech and the Constitution absolutely should trump a severance agreement at any time. And for me personally, I'm going to defend the Constitution. I'm going to defend the freedom of speech anytime I possibly can. So I know, everybody knows John Yoo, right? He was the attorney during George Bush's presidency, right? He made the torture memo, the infamous torture memo, where basically he said the Geneva Convention did not apply to our prisoners of war and we could torture them all we want. That was his opinion as an attorney. Just because we have an attorney's opinion doesn't make it correct, okay? That's why it's an opinion, because it's just that. There's many opinions that should apply to different things, okay? So I'm gonna make a motion that we add Communications 6A, James Harden's letter from March 25th.
Forgive me, but there's already a motion, a second.
Yeah.
You can't add another one.
Okay.
Unless
So I'll
Lisa and I-
amend the motion then. I'm asking to amend it.
It's up to Lisa and I if we want to.
I can't make my own motion to amend the agenda at all?
Not until the first one's voted on.
Yeah. We have-
Okay, so
we have-
vote on it and then I'll make mine. Sorry, apologize.
Or do you want to?
No, you're right. You guys do your motion, and Mike, you can make your own motion.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Okay,
You wanted that moved to 10A, correct?
Yes.
Or
yep,
11? 10A?
okay. So we have the amended motion, and we have support, discussion, so all in favor of the first motion?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
All right, I will make a motion to add James Hard's letter to communications on 6A.
I guess I'll support it just for discussion purposes, so we can,
Is that to have the letter read or just entered?
just entered, I believe.
I'm just asking to receive and file at this point.
I mean, technically, it's not our letter, but I mean, if a person requests something from us, aren't we obligated to have to
Well, I
at
never,
least receive and file?
I never made an opinion that it couldn't be received and filed. I made an opinion that the Board of the commissioners as a board should not be the funnel for reading that, given the language of paragraph 13 of the severance agreement, which indicates that we won't communicate in any public setting to any public body or person derogatory information about the prior city manager. So my opinion was not to be used as a funnel to read it. As far as the constitutional rights, we have never said this person cannot attend a meeting, cannot come to every meeting. He can come to every meeting and speak at every meeting, and he can read his letters at every meeting. I was just uncomfortable, Mike, with us being that funnel, given the peculiar nature of the settlement agreement. Having it received and filed is fine.
That's, yeah, I mean, the fact that he lives in Lexington and that he
No, I
sent
get it.
sent a letter here that he wants read, and we already set the precedent that we are gonna read letters from out-of-town residents.
We've never had a precedent where a letter that we were going to read might be in contravention of a settlement agreement.
I understand that. Again, that's an opinion. This gentleman asked for the letter to be read, and then everybody else got their letter read, and I think it's inappropriate to deny this man his right to have it read, just like everybody else, because his opinion is one that is negative rather than positive. That's exactly what the First Amendment is supposed to protect.
So we have no problem receiving and file the communication.
But you're still under the opinion that we should not read it.
We should not. If he wanted to designate somebody else to read it, that would be fine. Somebody could stand up during public comment and read this gentleman's letter. But I don't think the board should be that funnel. That's just my opinion. You're right,
Right.
and it's just my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
My job is to keep you from having litigation. We have no pending lawsuits against this city. We try not to have any. And I try to look for ways to prevent that. I'm not saying that any lawsuit would be successful. I'm just saying, I just try to prevent them.
Right.
I mean, to me, it would seem like the First Amendment violation in that lawsuit would be pretty open shut, rather than maybe violating a severance.
I don't agree, because I think he has every opportunity to come here and speak whenever he wants. I don't know if the Constitution says your freedom of speech is only as good as how far you're willing to drive.
What if he had a speech impediment?
You'd have to provide.
I don't think, he can't, if he can't speak, then he brings a surrogate and reads the letter. Or he gives it to somebody in the community and they read the letter.
Yeah, so you could have somebody in Marine City, a resident, but a non-board member, read it, and
Yeah, I just don't
that
want
would not
them-
be a violation.
I just
or
don't want any of you
violation.
individually or as a group to be sued.
Okay.
Yeah, I would, that's what I'm trying to prevent too, is having the city sued for not following previous precedent and respecting this man's wishes when he asked the letter to be read, because other people asked their letters to be read and they were read.
I understand. I just don't know of any other letters that were potentially governed by a settlement document.
I mean, the Constitution, the First Amendment is gonna trump a severance agreement every time. That's a federal thing. So we're on one motion. We got support.
So the bottom line, Bob, is that to receive and file it would not be a violation of the severance agreement, in your opinion?
No, it's a communication to the city.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I've been asking to have this thing put on in the packet on the agenda for the last month.
Did you already give it to him?
And I also talked with Scott in an email, and he suggested we don't add it to the packet either. But
But I
it's good
think-
that we're doing
I
it
think
now.
The letter has been received, filed, and distributed to all of you. Correct?
It's not in the packet.
It's been personally given to all of you.
Right, but it's not in the packet. It's a communication that was sent to us, just like every other communication
It
that's
is
sent to
now- It
us.
is now a public record in the city office, right?
Right, so what do I have to do to make the motion to get it in the packet? Because that's where I want it.
Well,
You-
your motion is to
You
have it
just did.
received and filed.
Okay, so it's going to be in the packet
It
then,
will be in the record of this meeting.
in the packet.
I don't know what the difference is, Mike. I'm not being,
It'd be in the minutes,
Right.
right?
That's a
We
big
have the
difference
Right,
to me.
it's gonna be added
So-
to the minutes of the record of the
I think
meeting,
it's too late to add it to the packet, but it'll be part of this meeting.
part of the meeting. So it'll get scanned into a part of the record of the meeting
Yeah,
from
right.
this.
So it's going to be in the minutes, word for word, not summarized.
Not in, it's gonna be received and filed. That's what will be in the minutes. We're not gonna, Mike, you guys can do what you want. My advice is not to communicate the contents of the letter in writing or verbally in any way as a board or individually. I think it violates the severance agreement, but if you want to do it, you don't have to listen to my advice.
So you're saying we shouldn't put it in the packet?
We should receive and file and note it into the record in the minutes, but not word for word into the minutes themselves. Because that's another form of communication.
Okay. Well, I would like my motion to reflect that I want it word for word. I don't want a summary. I want people to be able to see and read the letter.
FOIA the letter, Mike.
I know, they shouldn't have to, though. That's what I'm saying. He wanted it read, he wanted it on the record. They shouldn't have to FOIA it.
All right, well, you guys have my advice, please act accordingly, how you feel is fit.
I guess I'm gonna be cautionary on having to do it that way. I don't have a problem I have receiving and file, but I think we do have to be careful. If you're in agreement with receive and file, then I don't have a problem.
I mean,
Because it will be part of
it's-
this. It will be there.
what does that mean, though? It'll
Means
be,
if anybody ever pulls this and looks at it, it's there.
the letter, word for word, will be there.
Yeah,
That's not what he's saying,
The letter
though.
itself will be there.
yeah.
Right,
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
that's, okay.
The letter will be there, word for word, in the minutes.
Not
No,
in the
we
minutes.
are not
in this.
retyping the letter.
In the packet. In the packet. That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying the whole
Yes,
time.
yes, the letter will
Packets
be in
and
the
the
minutes.
minutes are two different things.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I've been asking the whole time. Can we get it in the packet?
Yes, it would be part of the package.
Yeah, we're not retyping it into the minutes.
Okay.
Correct,
We're just putting it in the packet.
correct.
Okay. Isn't that what
Okay.
I said the whole time?
And you still support Lisa on the receive and file?
Mike, I'm trying to listen to every word you say, but I asked you, I said, I'm not sure what you meant by put it in the packet.
To
Put it in the
receive and
packet.
file and add it
Word
to
for
part
word
of
in the packet.
I'm good with that. That's it,
And that's,
and nothing more.
okay, and our attorney is good with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
All right. Okay, now we're on to public comment. Anyone is welcome to address the city commission. Please state your name, limit your comments to 5 minutes. Commission will not respond, but will follow up as necessary. Anybody like to speak? Mr. Walkers?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioner. I saw on the agenda that the police department has some equipment, and I want to show my support for that as a retired police chief. The chief has done a great job in the 35 years I've been a resident, and the police department's never been better under his leadership. So I want to show my support for his equipment. The officers need good professional equipment when they're riding around. They spend a lot of time in their cars. So having a good car to support the police department, I want to make sure that I get that on the record, that I support that. That's on the agenda. I don't see anything on the agenda on the pot shop, but I do have a few things that I want to talk about real quickly. Again, it's all about the kids. I don't care if adults want to smoke pot and they want to smoke marijuana. There's many ways of getting it. My issue is the kids, and why is it my issue with the kids? As I mentioned before, it's because of the edibles. They're very, very hard to keep track of. It's a gateway drug, and the research is showing that marijuana is a gateway drug. We're going to have approximately 80,000 people die of fentanyl. Most of those people started smoking marijuana when they were young, and most of them were smoking weed. They didn't have the edibles. Now we have edibles, which is even stronger for kids. Instead of copying a bunch of studies and passing them out, I want people to be able to make sure they can go to the internet. The National Institute of Drug Abuse, American Academy of Pediatrics, the National Library of Medicine, CDC, the New York Times. You can look up any of those articles on edibles and children and what pot's doing to kids in the state of Washington and Colorado. American Academy of Pediatrics says it's 104 times more likely if a kid is an adolescent using marijuana that he's going to be involved in harder drugs, which is, again, we're talking about fentanyl and opiates and those kinds of things. The Elmhurst Health, which is one of the leaders in rehab, most of the rehab places have come out and their research shows that the people that they deal with, that they started with marijuana in their early adolescence. So again, that's a real problem. Edibles. Children overdoses, poison control. Colorado's had 2,000 cases over the last 6 or 7 years that they've had legal pot. The state of Washington had 200 in 1 year. There's some really good articles on edibles and children and what it's doing to our kids in schools. CNN, CBS, NBC, NPR have all done extensive stories on that, and those are available on the internet if you want to look at that. The University of Colorado did a study showing the increase of marijuana in children all the way down to toddlers. The Pediatrics Journal, who has done several articles on emergency medicine in the state of Colorado and Washington, and they're receiving in the ERs, they're receiving toddlers and young kids that are high on eating marijuana because of edibles that are their parents are even leaving unattended, and kids are getting into it. The states have passed laws. They package them. They try to make them so the kids don't get them. Anybody who's raised kids, if you're not careful, they got a ways of getting around that. So the edibles are the big issue for me, as I've mentioned before. I'm currently working in school security. I was a DARE officer for many years, 40 years in law enforcement. I understand we're not fighting a drug war here in Marine City. I know there's going to be marijuana. I know there's going to be some edibles. There's going to be some things. But you as a commission can send a message to the community and our most vulnerable kids that you're going to take a stand and you're not going to have a pot shop in our town so the kids aren't driving by it when they're going to school. And when you legitimize something like that, you're sending a message that the commission, who you represent the public, think it's fine to have a pot shop and a marijuana dispensary in town. That sends the wrong message to kids. And our schools, school security, the principals, those people, have no way of controlling edibles. They can bring the edibles in, they can munch at lunch, and they can be high the rest of the day. And obviously they're not doing schoolwork, they're thinking of other things. So again, it's the kids and the edibles. I don't have a problem with people who want to smoke marijuana. It's part of the state. The state decided to pass that law. That's fine. We just don't need it in our town. When I taught the DARE program, I tried to reach out to that middle 10% of kids who are kind of on the border. You know what? They're really not. Most kids are going to be fine. Their parents are going to take care of them. Other kids are going to fall through the cracks, and no matter what program you do, they're going to have problems. But that 10% that we want to reach out to, and that's what you can do as a commission by sending that message that we don't believe in having edibles and pot shops in our town. You can send that message to those kids and those parents, and you might be one of the groups that saves some of these kids that are later getting onto fentanyl and dying of drug overdoses. So again, please support the most vulnerable kids, and thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Nobody else? Then we move on. We added item 6A, communications, for the letter to receive and file. Do we have to do any further action on that? We're all good?
It's in.
Okay, moving on to 7, approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the city commission meeting minutes of April 20th, 2023?
I make a motion that we approve the city commission meeting minutes of April 20th, 23 as finally amended.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Do I have any discussion?
Yep, me. There was a change made in here on page 3 that I don't agree with. And I know Jason just put it in there, but I did send him the information. It says, Commissioner Hendrick spoke on the grant application and the fact that it needed to be complete for the public hearing. And it was her opinion, it was not. It wasn't my opinion. It was a fact. It was a fact based on the questions and the answers from the grant group. I read them. I see somebody else put in a new question. I'm assuming it was from here. They got the same answer. It said that the grant application had to be complete to be presented at the public hearing. So I'd like the opinion part removed. Because it wasn't an opinion. I read fact.
Any other discussion? Hey, all in favor?
Is that
All
going to be
right.
removed?
Do you need support? I don't know how that works.
You know, you made a motion to approve it as is. I'm not agreeing to that because it was not an opinion.
The motion maker would have to
Right.
amend the
Well, that's what I'm waiting
motion,
on.
Okay.
and the supporter would have to re-support.
I didn't see the latest question and answers, but if that's the case, every single submission that I read online, they're all wrong.
Well,
We added at the end the fact that we had that public hearing. How can you, I mean, it's impossible for you to submit a fully completed
I don't think that's what we're
report
here to discuss.
to the,
no, we're just here to discuss what's in the minutes. So let me read the question if you want. It says again, they asked, regarding the draft level of an application submitted prior to the public hearing, is it permissible to update the application either with feedback provided in the public hearing or with more detailed items not available at the time of the public hearing? It says, all UGLGs applying for funds under the Michigan program are required to adhere to public provisions set forth in Title I of the Housing Community Development Act as amended. Please note, the UGLG application must be complete and available for review at the public hearing. That's all I'm pointing out. Whether it was all complete or it wasn't complete, I'm just pointing out that that's what they're saying. That's their fact. That's their top question now. So all I'm saying, it was not my opinion, it was based on the facts, and that's all I'm asking for. The rest of it, I don't care. I'm just correcting the minutes to what it should be. Fact, opinion.
I mean, Brian, if you want to amend you, so you put in there that you disagreed with that,
Well,
then that's fine. But, I mean,
that's what happened at the meeting. I read the same thing at the meeting, and again, it was asked, and again, it's there. It's not an opinion, Brian, it's what it says. So I'm just asking to get rid of the word opinion, because it's not my opinion. It's a fact right out of their own thing.
I mean, again, if,
how about reiterated what the state had said? Something along those lines?
or the MEDC in this case.
I liked it the way it was. He had it in here that Commissioner Hendrick spoke on the grant application and the fact that it needed to be complete for the public hearing, and it was not. Well, I thought he had it the first time. That's,
Would you be okay, Lisa, if it said, and her reading of the grant materials says it has to be complete?
yeah, that's fine.
So that
I'm
would
just
be-
trying to point out that it's not my opinion.
That would be it's your reading, that's how you read it.
Correct. That would be fine.
Brian, is that all right?
Sure. Based on her reading, or,
Yeah, based on her reading. So it's not her
Of the
opinion,
grant material.
and it's not necessarily 100% fact, it's based on her reading.
I get why.
It's
Well,
their, it's their opinion, I guess, not my opinion.
Okay.
So then the motion maker would have to accept that change?
based on her reading.
Right.
That's what I amend my motion to read that based on her reading
A second.
in that section of the minutes.
I'll agree to
Who
that.
supported me?
I supported you.
Do you still
I'll
support?
support it, yes.
Okay, we have amended and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Can I have a motion to approve the city commission budget workshop meeting minutes of April 18th, 2023?
So moved.
Support,
Okay, motion and support. Any discussion?
Just that it's the latest amendment,
Yes.
as sent, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Okay, and can I have a motion to approve the city commission budget workshop meeting minutes of April 19th, 2023?
So moved.
Support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? carries. On the consent agenda, item 8, we have A, the Planning Commission meeting minutes of April 10th, 2023, the Pension Board meeting minutes of January 31st, 2023, the Pension Board Retiree Healthcare Board minutes of January 31st, 2023, Community and Economic Development Board minutes of March 23rd, 2023, the City Manager Search Committee meeting minutes of March 15th, 2023, the City Manager Search Committee closed session meeting minutes of March 15th, 2023. And can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda items A through F as most recently amended.
Support.
Okay, with that motion and a support, any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yep.
Commissioner Hillfrank,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to item 9 and 9A, expenditures under financial business. We have expenditures including payroll of $229,292.73.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yep.
Commissioner Hillfrank,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Commissioners, in the future, the motion maker should state the exact financial amount.
229, 292, 73. How's that?
Okay, under 9C, preliminary financial statements. Can I have a motion to receive and file the preliminary financial statements?
So moved.
Support?
Okay, motion and support, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it carries. Under unfinished business, we have moved item 11H to 10A, and that is going to be for the Maritime Days. And that is going to be the forgiveness of the previous bill that was owed for their permits now. And I don't know, and it was press letter. I don't know how we're gonna intro this.
We need a motion, I guess.
Okay.
Do you want to speak on anything?
Yeah, we do.
You-
So good evening, Board. My name is Evelyn Tolles, and I'm part of the Marine City Festival. And I had submitted a letter regarding the festival. As you know, as of August of 2022, the previous committee had decided to dissolve the committee. So no longer we do have a Maritime Days after 40 years. And if you look at our committee, there was our president, Tammy Graber, who is from Chesterfield, who said, yeah, we grew up in Marine City, we have to do something about this. So if our board right now sits at over 85% of out-of-towners, and we have a large board and a very large committee, which is quite surprising just getting together in the last 8 weeks. We are coming across things slowly, you know, as it's kind of as we do something, we find out, oh, this wasn't done, this isn't done, permits, things like that. And in digging, we found that there is a previous bill from 2022 for a total, I think, $1740.49. And so we are asking that if we didn't come back as a festival, you'd kind of be sitting without it being paid anyways. So we are asking just this one time, if possibly, just so that we can get this going. We're doing everything by the cash that we have, and we are making it. It's getting a great response from the community. I was quite surprised. There's some grumblers, but overall, especially the business people have been very positive about it. they're quite surprised that it's a board of out-of-towners who are wanting to, one of them actually retired and moved here and said, we gotta do something about this. So, we like to pay our bills. We, the board of 2023 and on, will always, but at this one time, we just wondered if you could possibly be able to forgive that loan so that we can start on a nice, clean slate.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we waive the, what is this? The special event payment that was due of $1,740.49 from the Maritime, the previous Maritime Days Committee.
Support?
Okay, I have a motion and a support to waive that. And any other discussion?
I'd just like to thank you guys for taking this on. I know it's tough. It's been tough for a while, but I appreciate you taking it on. I know it's gonna take a lot of hard work, but it's something we can do.
Thank you. We're all very excited about it. It's actually, the turnout's awesome of volunteers, so thank you so much, yeah. Thanks.
No, and I believe the same too.
Likewise.
I was able to attend the first meeting and I think the last one that you had was one of our meeting nights, one of the last ones, so I wasn't able to attend that. But being there and seeing all the enthusiasm and all the people, and you're right, and there was a lot of people from out of town, but maybe they grew up around here, maybe they live in one of the surrounding communities, they remember all the years of it, and then just the will and the drive to see it continue and go.
Right.
It was just incredible to be there and watch how all that was working and the brainstorming. So thank you guys very much for taking that on and continuing that for us.
Thank you.
How's the overall funding right now looking for you guys?
Well, we're probably we've only been fundraising for the last maybe 7.5 weeks. We have a budget that we're gonna start this year at 55,000, and we're about 1/5 of the way. With that being said, we're getting checks in daily from businesses, and we're still pounding the pavement. We're only at maybe 1/4 of our businesses in town. So we're doing well.
Yeah, the 55,000, without getting into too much detail, like how did you come up with that number?
Well, we did go through paperwork of previous years, saw what things were, charges. We, of course, there's a group of us, so we're calling fireworks, we're calling rides, we're calling everything to find out what pricing is. And then we had to, be realistic and say, okay, this first year, this is all we can afford, but that's our target. And so far, we're ahead of schedule, so we're happy.
So you're looking something on par with last year?
I can't honestly tell you, we did not go last year.
I'm just saying the
I don't know.
55,000, is that, is that
Oh,
what
I
you're,
have no idea.
is that what you're looking at though?
Some of those-
with you're saying you want to raise 55,000 to cover a certain amount of.
Right, that will cover our expenses this year for license permits, and all the activities we have planned for Friday through Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
Just fireworks alone, I know is expensive.
We have gotten some wonderful donations.
Did you look in any grants like from DTE? I know they always.
We
do
have,
those.
we've gotten, yep, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I
And
know-
maybe even the St. Clair County Community Grant Foundation. Try them.
That one. We even did the St. Clair Foundation, but so, yeah, we're all over everywhere. So,
I know in the past, didn't Tifa contribute some money to the festival? I'm pretty sure they
I
did.
don't know. It would have been the one downtown. I
Yeah.
can't remember on that one.
Yeah, I followed Tifa stuff pretty closely for a while there, and I'm pretty positive they did contribute some money. I'd like to see, I think it's blasphemy that the city doesn't help out with it, to be honest. I would like to see us contribute some money. We have ARPA funds that can be used for lost revenue from tourism, and I think this could easily be for that. Me personally, I'd like to throw you guys 5,000, but I don't know what everybody else feels about it.
Well, maybe we should have our city manager check into it and see what he can come up with first.
Yep, I'll be glad to look into things, and I know that we're gonna have some upcoming discussion on remaining ARPA funds. We'll make sure that we have qualifying points. I know they've tightened quite a few of the pieces down, but I'll be glad to look at it for you.
All right.
okay, thank you very much.
So, without any further
Do we
discussion?
need a roll call?
Yep.
Yeah, roll call, it's a financial issue.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Helfrich,
Yeah.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yep.
Motion carried.
Thank you, guys.
Let us know you guys need any help. Please reach out to me, email me. I'll help you guys out any way I can.
All right, moving on to item 10B, the Charter Section 6.8 investigation on Mike Hillfrank update.
Do you want me to go ahead and read this? Okay. So, this is from the Marine City Agenda from 4/6/2023. It was requested by Jacob Bryson. New business, it's a Charter Section 6.8 investigation on the phone contacts between Mike Hillfrank and the City Police Department, City Police Chief during an arrest process on February 10th, 2023. Commissioner Clausen and myself were appointed to do the investigation. We had Mr. Clausen, Mr. Hillfrank, and the police chief met in the office, and I phoned in because I was not feeling well and didn't want to include them in my coughing. So, we questioned Commissioner Hillfrank, the interim city manager, police chief Jim Heslop. The questions and answers. So, first question, did Mike Hillfrank call the chief on the chief's personal cell phone during the arrest investigation process? Commissioner Hillfrank says yes. The police chief says yes. Question number 2, what was the purpose of Mr. Hillfrank calling the chief? The answers, Commissioner Hillfrank, I wanted a character reference since the arresting officer did not know me. The police chief agreed with the above statement. Question number 3, was Mr. Hillfrank looking for a special favor because he is the city commissioner? Commissioner Hillfrank said no. The police chief said no. He stated he told Mike he could not get involved with the officer's duty. Question number 4 was Mr. Hillfrank granted any favors? Commissioner Hillfrank said no. The police chief said no. And that was all the questions and answers. I'd like to make a motion to have this received and filed.
Support.
Okay, motion and a support, and any other further discussion? Hearing none?
Yeah, there were no other comments or questions anybody made, so.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Okay, item 10C, update discussion on social district. Attorney David?
Yes, I I gave you on April 27, 2023, a fairly significant memo with a lot of attachments. This is ready to go, in my opinion. The next step for the community is to file our resolution, if you pass it, if you're inclined to pass it, along with our management agreement and our map. And then we could have that on file, and then we could work with the 2 facilities to get their applications in place, and we would have 2 adjoining establishments to the common areas. We worked on a map. You'll see that, like all the other communities, the district itself is generally bigger than the common areas. Bear in mind, it's only the common areas where this drinking of alcohol in public can occur. If you look at the map in yellow, it's basically, the sidewalks, and then the areas along the water that are not otherwise owned by individuals or businesses. But generally, what you're going to have here is you're going to have the ability to get a designated container, have a drink from one of the 2 establishments initially. We have a city social district sticker that goes on there. They have their sticker that goes on there. the person leaves with the beverage and is able to walk along those yellow lines from noon until midnight, 7 days a week, and enjoy a cocktail along the waterfront in what's known as a social district. Seems pretty exciting to me. But I think we're ready to go. If you pass the resolution this evening, then I will work with your city manager on getting the materials to the state of Michigan, and we'll work on contacting the two establishments to get them on board. I can't take credit for the infamous logo that our clerk came up with. The creative nature of his abilities continues to amaze me in his role as clerk. It's basically your nice city logo with social district under it. I think it's as good as anything. And gives you a little maritime look. It gives you the seal, if you will, of your city, and simply puts the words social district on the bottom of it. I read one that was amusing while I was looking through these somewhere. I think it was over in Milford. They had their logo, and then underneath it said refreshment area, which I thought was interesting. But I kind of like where the clerk went with this. So I know the resolution is a new business item, so I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on it?
Yeah, do we, with this, are we have an enforcement, are we doing an ordinance so the police can enforce it?
So it's really what that's a good question. I think what we actually have to do is we have to modify the open intox ordinance, and we had to do this in other communities where it says, it shall be unlawful except in the designated social district common areas, comma, and then you go forward with your general rule against open intox. So we had put a moratorium on the enforcement of open intox, for quite a while. So now what we have to do is amend, if this goes through, we amend the current ordinance to say, except in the designated common areas of a social district. So then it's legal, not illegal. It's legal to walk down the street if you're complying with the other rules of the program.
Cup, sticker, et cetera.
Yeah, so then I think all the communities that we've looked at, they put a link to social district on their website and explains what it is and the mechanics of how it works. Basically, we would have on our website that we've established a social district, we've established a common area with signage, we've established a logo for the cups that can be no greater than 16 ounces. Qualified licensees would have their own logo that would go on the cup, and that you can leave that establishment and walk the common areas without fear of prosecution for open intox.
Bob, you're really selling it. What do you think, Scott?
I think it certainly has had economic development benefits in other communities, and if done the right way, and I've reviewed this, I think there's been a lot of work put into it. It's a good start. I think if it's successful, you'll see others that'll want to get on board, and it's still going to be manageable. I think that's the key. It's a very manageable district.
What do you mean by good start?
Well, right now, you have impediments to do that, and you're starting small with 2 businesses in a limited district, and, it's a trial and error as you're going forward. Every community is different, and I think that starting small is a good way to begin, and you can make tweaks along the route if you have issues. But again, it's a good starting point and a step-off
Yeah,
point.
Mike, good question, because it seems about more than half of communities who did this have either amended by adding to the district, to the common areas, or retracting as they saw how it panned out.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd want to avoid all of the trial and error as much as possible.
Oh, yeah.
I
mean,
think,
Yeah, I think, and, we've looked at this. I mean, I think the chief is on board with what the common areas are looking from an enforcement standpoint. And you do have the I know you've read through the management agreement, so I think we worded it pretty tight on how it works, so.
What about the noise ordinance?
That nothing gives them the right to violate the noise ordinance.
I mean, it's 10 o'clock. I know last year I had a lot of complaints from houses right next to bars about the noise. And that's why I'm
Yep.
very, very concerned with this map. I mean, we got houses in here.
Yep.
There's houses within this district. I mean,
Yep.
we just had a discussion about marijuana, that we didn't want them to buy it within 1,000 feet of a house, and we're gonna have people drinking right in somebody's front yard. Doesn't that seem kind of hypocritical, contradictory?
It's your decision.
Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
It's your decision.
I mean, we got gentlemen at the podium talking about the kids, the kids, the kids. Well, what about the kids with walking down the street with alcohol? I mean, isn't that an issue? Absolutely. I mean, you'd think that would be an issue for a lot of people, but that hasn't been brought up. It's just the marijuana, oddly.
Mike, I put this together because the commission asked me to. Your comment that I'm trying to sell it, I think is inappropriate, but okay, if that's your opinion.
I don't even,
I think you used the word good sale. I'm not trying to sell
well,
it.
I'm just saying it, I mean, I'm just asking, that was not a comment for you. It's more like, what does Scott think? I apologize. It wasn't
And
really.
Chief, we should hear from the chief too. on-
Yeah.
You know, I know this was a long time ago where you guys were talking about the current ordinance that was in effect for, the open intox. And it was confusing, it was outdated, and all I simply asked is we need to either update this, scrap it, start fresh, something. You know, the city attorney and I, in the meantime, we met, we talked, we figured this was the easiest way to take enforcement action with an open intox, but allow the bars to still sell. This is cut and dry, that the other ordinance that we had was not. It was up in the air all over the place. This is just cut and dry for us to take enforcement action if we needed to. So we, brought it to you guys, as you guys wished, and when you shoot it down, we have to figure out something to deal with the open intox.
Yeah, I mean, what, a lot of silence up here. Was everybody else saying?
Well, wait, I'm just waiting till you're done.
Right.
One thing I noticed is you don't have anything going to, the Newport, which may want to be in on it.
So you mean turn that yellow to the left?
Yeah, there's,
there's a-
right on the,
Oh, yeah.
you don't have anything going there.
That's easy, right? Yep,
That's one thing.
Okay.
The next thing is, okay, so you're making each one of these, we have this little map. Each one of these parks then is your common area along with the sidewalks,
correct, that's it.
correct? All right, so then what does it require, how many,
How many signs?
yeah, I'm gonna ask this question, how many signs and what are they gonna cost? Because
Do they have to be at each corner?
You just have to, it has to be signage, what's the word? Signage with such clarity as to direct people to where the common areas are. So it's really in your discretion how you go
Yeah,
about
I
that.
just don't want 50,000 signs but.
I don't think you're
that's
gonna
why
need
I'm
50,000.
Yeah, I think it could be manageable
And
with
it depends what you put on your website too. Your website will help a lot.
your main district signs, and I think you want to be very simple and not overcluttered. I agree with you, overcluttered at your common areas, but yet, as Mr.
Yeah,
Davis has
Because
said,
people don't read
clarity.
them anyways.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
They're there for enforcement action, really.
barely-
Here it
They
is.
barely read the stop signs, right?
Right, yes.
Okay, so, and in this case, when you add the lettering, if somebody else wants to enter in, you're just gonna tack another person on?
Yes. We have, when we submit it to the state, we have to show two. They don't want to look at it if we don't have some participants.
Okay,
Which makes sense.
and since you're doing all the, I still don't like the fact that we're doing the volleyball area where the kids are, but all the rest of the parks, I'd be, whatever. I just, that one park just, I know Mr. Welkers tells us all about the kids, and he's right. But this particular area, I mean, they've got the area just down from here, which is just as well for the fish company. But I still think that area, because you just don't want somebody buying it and then they're coming, you know the old thing where they get, the kids go buy at the store and they get somebody older to buy for them? Well, they could do the same thing here. I mean, you could go have them buy a drink and they could bring it down and,
Yeah, just remember the liability of all bar operations remains with the bar under dram shop laws and whatnot, so
yeah.
they cannot overserve, you know, they're still liable if they overserve, and they're still liable if they serve inappropriate aged.
But you gotta catch them.
I know. We were all there once, Lisa.
I know.
And
That's why I'm asking that
We
question.
were all there once.
And we can retract that area if we do find that there's.
Yeah, you
correct.
can amend this
We can
at
amend
any
it and
time.
change it.
Because we got spaces on either side where it's already not available. It might be good just to block.
Make
the
it
whole-
contiguous.
Mayor,
Yeah,
that
make
was
it
a,
contiguous, yes.
that was a good point. I was
Both
going to
sides.
mention that too. Starting out small, and I think
Yes.
Commissioner Day kind of answer where your question you put to me first. In a lot of communities, I've seen communities that have gone too big, and it's harder to undo. This is manageable to start if the commission approves it. You'll want to carefully watch and monitor to see how it works, but certainly you have the ability to make changes. If you need to, as Commissioner Hendricks said, if you need to take out maybe the volleyball area because it doesn't seem to be working, you can make that change. If you want to add or subtract, certain components, you have the ability to make that change. But it's a manageable start if the commission approves to go this route, as opposed to being too large, which could cause problems right out of the onset.
Okay. What about the times? We're at noon to midnight.
Yeah, Mike was just raising that maybe midnight is too late in this community. I don't know. I know midnight is not late in some communities, but this may be a,
I wasn't too concerned as far as it being late. I'm just concerned with it being a contradiction with our noise ordinance and that causing a problem. Midnight is a little late, I think. I don't know. I'm torn on it, to be honest.
Well, the bars are
I
open
don't
till
think-
2, and I think you have that, I know people that go down and fish at night, they hear them coming out at all hours anyway, so I don't know if this is gonna make or break anything for the simple fact that it happens today.
I don't know that.
You've
the
been to
law-
bars in Marine City at 2?
No, I said
Yeah,
the
that does-
fishermen tell
I haven't
them-
found anybody open at 2.
I have to
but-
say, I drove by, I was coming from someplace and I drove through your city at 11:30 on a Friday one.
And sometimes,
Yeah.
I thought I swear everybody was in bed. It was.
Gord's stays open late
Yeah.
sometimes. It depends on if
But
they're
I
getting
think
business.
if you're there, they'll stay, if you're there, they'll
Yeah.
stay open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gord's and Newport both stay, it depends. If people are there, they stay
Seemed like
open.
an early town.
yeah. Well, I think,
For the most part, our streets roll up about 11:15.
Yeah.
Roll up. Nobody
Roll
talks
up.
about
Yeah,
I
we,
don't-
I'm just gonna sit
we get it.
Yeah.
We caught that.
I got you, Chief.
Yeah, say
I
about
don't like
17.
the noon part. I think it should be back to 4 o'clock, which we had talked about, happy hour or whatever. I don't really think we need to have it at noon in the parks, especially because they're in our parks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think
would
it,
think 4 to
Your
midnight.
choice.
4
yeah, 4 or 5 o'clock was what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
4 to midnight?
What is the difference between the common area and the social district?
So the district is you have to create a contiguous box to be your district. Within your district, you have to designate the common areas. If you take a look, Mike, I looked at a bunch of them. If you look at some of them, they name, it's like they're, like Kalamazoo put a box around their whole downtown
Yeah.
as the district, but then the common areas were a very finite portion. So it's not like the red line gives room, automatic expansion. It's just, that seemed like the logical box to the clerk and I, but it's the yellow that matters. It's the yellow lines that matter.
So what does that mean though? Like so if they go where this red line is on Market Street, they're out of it.
Nothing. They cannot drink over there.
they can only drink in the yellow area.
They can only drink on the yellow sidewalks and in the yellow
And then the
boxes.
boxes. Those are the only places you can go.
Okay. So what is the purpose of the social, why is the red line there? That just,
Mike, that's a,
okay.
It's a state thing.
yeah.
You can leave it at that.
How's that?
So,
If
the
you-
only
if-
request,
If you can figure out the state of Michigan, you can quit your.
Yeah, 'cause that had me thinking that you could drink within that red box.
I know, and it has to be explained.
Just that yellow.
right.
Yeah.
So to that end, I'd like to see the yellow boxes where the drinking can happen hatched or something that, just indicates within
Okay.
these you may consume. I'd like
Getting this clerk.
some sort of addendum that would force the those participating in the social district, the sponsor, or not just the sponsors, but anybody participating, any bar participating, that they put up like an info sheet that contains the map and, you know, just a brief explanation of you may drink here,
Aren't
you
they
know.
required to?
Yeah, we'll put,
They're
I'll
required
double,
to under the law.
well, I can double down on that in the management.
You have to have an, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that'd be good.
in terms of the signage,
No, I guess, I hear what-
verbiage,
yeah.
but just to make
So you
sure
want, in their bar,
yes,
if they're a qualified licensee participating,
correct.
you want them to have something that shows
Yeah, prominently displayed,
the
you know.
district. That's fine.
We could even dictate the size, I mean, maybe 11 by 17 at a minimum.
We can do that.
Something like this, just so that, you know, there's no confusion. They point them out, maybe it's on the way out the door, I don't know. But something that encourages people to educate themselves on what this is.
Okay?
That's good.
Perhaps a scan code,
A QR code,
a QR code.
put it right at the bottom.
And then
Or
it
as an
could
addendum
lead to our-
for a future year.
You did a little.
And the only other thing I'd like added is that we, and maybe it was in there, I apologize if I missed it, but that we intentionally revisit annually.
Yeah, it's in the back,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Rita. Go ahead.
I'd also like to say that the volleyball, since there's things on either side of it, and once you do it, it's hard to take it back, because people say, last weekend I drank here, how come I can't drink here? What's excluded for now, we can always add it in later, but that still gives them, you know,
So you
more
want
than half the riverfront.
to take out the volleyball?
The volleyball, because we have the little space next to it and another
Yeah,
little
we can do that.
space, and then leave the rest of it.
Yep.
And then we're gonna put the line there, okay. And then, what are the penalties? I didn't see anything about penalties.
That's under.
Did I miss it?
No, you'd have to go to our ordinance here.
But this is not an ordinance, it's a resolution,
But he's
right?
got to update this ordinance
Yeah,
to
well,
say that social districts, that you'll be able to drink.
Right, and we need to update the Parks and Recreation ordinance too?
no,
Because it says, no
Just-
person
just,
shall bring into or have possession of drink or otherwise consume any alcoholic beverage in any park, public park or any parking lot contained therein.
so we would update that one just the same, say,
Okay, just wanna make
subject
sure it's
to
done,
the,
'cause-
subject to the social district.
Right,
So there's two of them you got to update.
two of them, it's, 9307.
Got it,
And the other one is 114.01.
yep. I got them.
I
Okay,
thought there was something else, hang on. The only other thing I was looking at is on page 3 of here.
So we do have the review, we have a review after 90 days, and then one annually, Mr. Ross.
yeah,
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
I'll say, under your management plan, it says here, under certain circumstances, social district permit holders may use public space for seating, tables, and related furnishings. So is that above and beyond where we're letting them put stuff on the sidewalks already?
No,
So if they already have an area on the sidewalk, can they use that today, because it's already in?
so
the-
we have to maintain whatever we have so far, right? You
Yeah.
saw that. And theirs have to, they have to take responsibility for anything they do. They have to comply with ADA and all other requirements. It would be in furnishings, page 3, number 2.
Okay.
And they have to contact us, you know, for reviews and approvals.
I mean, we already have to do that for some
Yep.
of the seating and all that.
Absolutely.
So this just adds to it. Okay. So we're not gonna, at this time, the only thing we're adding is signs. We're not gonna add seating, benches, tables,
Yeah,
any other.
I think you guys kind of
We
said.
have enough garbage.
You did not want to commit to any such thing at the.
Garbage cans, I think, were the only thing we said we might add a few more. That was
Right.
about it. Now, in this social district, since it's the sidewalk and the other part, so if somebody gets a drink out of one of these facilities and walks down the street and tries to walk into one of the other shops that's not there, then they could be ticketed. So does the shop owner, say the popcorn place, say somebody wants to go in there to get some popcorn, they got their drink, so they can't take their drink in there?
Correct.
So are they gonna have to have a notice on their door telling them not to take their drink in there?
No.
I noticed in some of them, they had a sticker if they allowed it, but not if they didn't allow it.
Yeah, I mean, generally that kind of works itself out. I mean, the people who are participating see an advantage sometimes, and so.
Well, I agree, I'm just saying, but the people that just sell regular wares, you want to make sure that they understand
They do
that people
not
should
have,
be,
they do not have to let people in who are drinking.
correct.
Correct.
And that people drinking should know that they shouldn't be wandering into their,
I think most people know you aren't supposed to bring outside food or
Well,
drink into
but-
businesses.
Most people.
but you open this up
Most
on the
people, yeah.
sidewalk.
I'm saying the majority of people know that.
And then they're
I
gonna,
agree
they're
with
gonna
you.
have the rules and the
I
signs
agree,
and
most people,
everything, and-
right.
I did have another comment. The smoking thing, is that like a state requirement to not allow smoking?
Yeah,
Okay, so I know a lot of the bars, that people go outside in the front sidewalk and they smoke to not
be what,
smoke in the
30
bar,
feet?
so how do we get around that?
There's a law against it. You're
No, I'm
supposed to
saying-
be so many feet from the doorway of a building before
Yeah.
you can smoke.
Well, I visit the
saying
bars and I
that-
see
But it
what they're
doesn't
doing.
happen, yeah.
They're
Yeah, you see
outside
what-
on the
see-
front
yeah, I see
sidewalk
it.
smoking at Newport and at Gord's.
I mean, that's
the-
technically already unlawful, but,
Yeah.
the bar should already be enforcing that.
So so they should be behind the bar to smoke? I mean,
Well, I think,
they gotta have an option somewhere, you know? If they can't be within however many
What's-
feet
what's
of
the law on
door,
that, Jim?
if they're
Don't
gonna
they have to
walk
be
2 blocks away to
so many
many feet,
feet from,
That's for a
25
business.
feet from,
So many feet,
25 feet?
25 feet from the door.
We don't
Something
have
like that.
enforced connection on that, that's completely strictly through Lara. The licensing regulatory affairs of the state, that's where that gets recorded. We have never.
And that's who's running this program, is Laura. This is a Laura program.
I just wouldn't want businesses to actually get less business because people have to go 2 blocks away to smoke. That's all. But if there's not enforcement, then we're good.
No, if they get their open end from, let's just say it's Thurs, and they would start walking down the street and they're drinking it, they can smoke a cigarette. Yeah, there's no laws against that.
That's not what this says, right?
Which
They
section are you
cannot
at?
smoke inside the district. It's,
I think it's in the comment.
where was it?
I think it's page 2, and I think it's number 9, but I think that's the common areas.
yeah, number 9.
Which page is it?
That's just inside the yellow box.
Yeah, under the Exhibit 3, the management and maintenance plan, it's page 2, number 9, for no smoking in the common areas.
Okay, so that means all our parks and,
Correct.
So all those defined areas, the sidewalks in front of those parks.
so what happens then? You're right, if they're all,
Yeah, I mean, what,
So-
Well,
all
if you want me to see if I can take that out, I will, but,
I mean, I don't know how you get around it. People
well,
need to smoke when they go to the bar.
but they can't even, if the park is designated as a common area, then they can't
That's-
smoke in the park.
Yeah.
Except the volleyball.
And this isn't a decree of the state, right, that it be like this? This was just,
Well, that's why I just asked
You
him if
grab-
that was a
Yeah.
state requirement. He said yes.
Mr. Davis, I have a question real quick. So the common law then, would that technically kick in and be in effect at 4 PM? So can people smoke in that common area at 3 PM as long as alcohol's not in that park? That's confusing
Yeah.
Yeah,
question.
all right, we'll have to clear that up. I didn't think the smoking would be a big issue, but, let me see, Mike, what I can do on that.
Kind of a-
See what kind of latitude there is.
Because the park ordinance doesn't regulate.
The park
Prohibit
your park
smoking.
ordinance says nothing about
The
smoking.
only
Except the
spot
beach.
right currently we can't smoke right now is the beach.
Beach,
The beach, yeah.
yeah.
if the volleyball court and that area is off limits, could the sidewalks be included? I mean, obviously, the sidewalk
Sidewalks remain.
across the top is included, but there's also a walkway that goes straight from the one park across the back of 303 Water, rather, and then over,
Well, you got that all along there, you got that in 3 different locations, so,
right?
yeah, you're gonna have to mark it. They're all gonna have to be marked anyway. See what he's saying?
No, I know,
Well, that was a question though, too.
This
Did you
here.
want that to go along our so-called boardwalk the entire distance?
do you
or
want the
only in
yellow,
those-
do you want the yellow line all along the water?
I think it makes sense to put it along the contiguous sidewalk on the water that you can walk right now, yes.
This one.
Just not in the park.
Well, in that area, yes.
Yeah, okay.
The rest of them,
Yeah, I don't see how you can tell somebody that at the end of the park, you can't,
Yeah. Because they
on
they
the
do that.
sidewalk, you can't smoke or drink, and then you
Wait a
gotta go
second.
down to the next spot and you can.
Right, but you just contradicted yourself, unless I misunderstood. The entire sidewalk along the river, you want as a common area, except for the volleyball area. So you're gonna tell them to stop?
no, I'm saying
That
through
sidewalk,
the
just the
volleyball area.
sidewalk through the volleyball area is permissible.
Along the river.
Along
The
the river.
sidewalk
And on
along
the
the road is certainly permissible, right?
Yeah.
And the sidewalk, I'm asking
Then
that the sidewalk
I
along the river
misunderstood.
also be permissible.
So it would hit this one, and this
Gotcha.
one. It
Right,
hits
because
all-
that way you can
Only
walk
on the
through,
sidewalk.
because that's gonna be very tough to monitor if, they're behind buildings and stuff, walking.
Well, plus
you know.
there's a couple areas that you can't be, so if you do it that way, then yes.
I mean, if
that-
we're
that
gonna
You have
solves
to
the
make the
problem.
sidewalk.
Include the
yeah.
sidewalk, I mean, that's kind of crazy to not include the volleyball court too, I mean, come on.
Well, because,
Look,
no, people walk through there. I see people walk through there every day.
No, I understand that, but, look, I mean,
No,
we
but-
all go to restaurants, we all drink next to kids, is it really that big of a deal? I mean, and like they said, if it becomes a problem, then let's deal with it then.
Well,
I just think it's silly.
Even if you leave it in, you still have to address the sidewalk because it's going through two areas that aren't in it all along here. That's what he's saying. So you still have to address it one way or another, whether the volleyball court's in it or not. You gotta address that whole sidewalk. Because
The
there's,
continuous sidewalk.
because there's two areas where the
Right.
water plant is and where the old guy center is, those aren't in there.
Right.
And you wanna walk through there. That's what he's saying.
So the sidewalk should be.
Yeah,
The
that was,
sidewalk
and that was my
along-
original question. I did
Yeah.
not put it in there, but that's why I wanted clarification.
Yeah.
I'm good.
And
That
that,
would-
I
that would be
believe,
just-
covers it. That's the only weird part, where on the other side, there's
It
a
is.
sidewalk.
It is.
I'm kind of with Mike. I don't think that we should exclude the volleyball court, but I mean, if that's
I mean,
make
we're
or break.
talking a sidewalk that's right next to the volleyball court, I mean, let's be rational here, it doesn't make sense.
Well,
So it doesn't make sense then for any of the other exclusions either.
Which ones?
Well,
Well,
whatever
some of those
these
are pri-
houses, whatever.
Those are private.
Or
Yeah.
businesses that do not allow
I'll tell you what.
traffic behind.
leave it in, see if it's an issue. If it's an issue, we take it out. Simple as that.
You could almost just delineate like you did on the front sidewalk, on the
Yeah.
back portion. So
Yep.
again, you're not
Okay.
able to participate in the volleyball courts as a common area, but the sidewalk is part of its own delineation like the front. I think, Commissioner Ross, that's what you're,
Well, it was until
Yeah.
they just decided that it would be okay to include.
All right,
So
so-
which, that's what I'm for. So let's keep it there. But the only thing that we do need to add, Jason, is that sidewalk that's contiguous all the way from the park south of 303 Water, past the Eddy Park, and then past the waterworks to the next park north. That's a contiguous sidewalk, river walk.
Can I get an iPad though, so I can actually draw that? It's really tough with the mouse.
So we will, I would recommend.
I'm asking as the clerk.
Okay.
I would
I
recommend that
understand.
we bring this back, one more time.
I think you're
Okay.
also missing that other little park in between there too.
Which
And
one?
let the clerk and I work on the map.
Watchman, where that rusty thing is.
Did you want to take
Oh, that's
the,
true, actually. It's right here.
Oh, I know which one you're
the
talking about.
common area and wrap it around so it
Yeah.
extends the Newport?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
get,
he's gonna
That
add
was-
that.
Yep.
That was brought up
we're
earlier.
gonna do that. And then I'll address I'll get some answers on Mike's, good smoking questions.
Yeah.
And then, we'll bring it back. I think there's just too much to try to craft a motion with all these exceptions tonight.
Sure.
But I think we've made a good start on this. So we'll, and we'll try at the next meeting, I was just talking to the city manager, we'll try to bring back what the signage might look like and what the cost might be,
How many?
and where they would be placed.
Yeah.
What was the time we were settling on, so we don't have to like come back again next time too? We were doing 4 to 12, or what do you think, Rita?
That's what I thought.
4 to 12,
Can I make
what
one
Rita
more?
referred to as happy hour.
Well,
No,
So we're doing this all week long and all year long. we're gonna do it.
Yeah, it
People wanna be out there and
monitors itself, Lisa, I think.
Yeah.
It kind of dies out on its own
Yeah.
when the winter hits.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Mid-February.
Jason, I don't mean to
It'd be
be
a good
picky or
fall,
anything,
spring.
but on your logo there, could we put social and then district? Because on a cup, if you do social district,
Might
it
wrap.
kind of wrap around a little, and then you're going, what?
I don't claim to be an artist, but
I know, just
would
like
try.
that, only curved top and bottom.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just, it'll fit better on a cup.
That probably takes care of 11A as well.
Takes care of
Yeah.
several agenda items.
We don't have to do that.
Oh.
All right.
All right, moving on to new business action items, and so we just discussed 11A was the resolution for the social district, so we'll remove that.
Next meeting,
Yes,
okay.
yes, next meeting we'll have that, and then all the changes proposed and the quotes for the signs and everything else requested.
Do you need a motion to table that?
Just motion to set it aside till the next meeting.
Okay,
Make a
Make a
mo,
mo-
go ahead.
I make a motion that we set aside resolution 008-2023 social district until the next meeting.
Support.
okay, motion and support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Okay, 11B, we have resolution 009-2023, the Fifth Third Bank signature changes.
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 009-2023, a resolution authorizing the execution of documents with Fifth Third Bank to make necessary signature and account authorizations.
Support?
Okay, motion and a support, any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Hillfrank.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, 11C, the resolution 10-2023 for budget amendments. I have a motion to approve resolution 10-2023 for the budget amendments.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 010-2023, authorizing budget amendments as presented.
Support.
Okay, motion and support, discussion?
I'd just like to say it's so nice to see a budget amendment and it's done correctly. Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't seen one before.
Thank you.
And real quick, I'd also like to thank you for doing the agenda memos on here that, along with the resolutions that give the informational that we might need to refer to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yep.
Commissioner Hillfrank,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Item 11D for the police department, patrol cars purchase. Can I have a motion to waive competitive bidding for the purchase of the police department patrol cars from Berger Chevrolet as the My Deal dealer?
I make a motion that we waive competitive bidding using Berger Chevrolet for the cost of $80,274. Just to waive competitive bidding for Berger Chevrolet.
Support.
Okay, motion and a support, and have a roll call vote. Oh, discussion, sorry. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yep.
Commissioner Hillfrank,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay,
Sorry, just for the benefit of the public, it's through the My Deal, MI Deal program. You can't find a better deal.
My Deal.
My Deal.
Now, can I have a motion to approve the purchase of 2 police department patrol cars from Berger Chevrolet in the amount of $80,274?
I'll make the motion to approve the 2 Chevy Tahoes from Berger Chevy under my deal at a total cost of $80,274.
Support.
Support.
Okay, I have motion and support for discussion.
There you go.
Just letting you guys go. I'm just enjoying the moment. So pursuant to the budgetary talks that we had, that one morning I had called several different dealerships. This was actually the cheapest that we could find for any patrol car. The Dodge Durango, the Ford Interceptor, and the Chevy Tahoe are the quotes we received. This 40,000 that was quoted out was actually surprised me, because I think I told you during budgets it was been around 45. So this is about $5,000 less than what I significantly thought it was gonna be, so, he's got them on the lot, ready to go. I'm just waiting, he's waiting for my phone call tomorrow for a yay or a nay.
And how long will it take? I know you have this, we have the equipment installation. How long does that usually take?
Well, that's gonna be, I'm gonna need to do some strategic planning for that one, especially with Memorial Day coming up, and we're gonna need all of our cars in service for the parade. I'm gonna have to take one out at a time to get stripped, and then re-outfit it into the new Tahoe, and then
The new stuff?
we're gonna have to figure it out. Yeah.
Okay.
I plan on keeping one of those, one of the ones we're stripping for me, and I was gonna give the other one to Mike Kittredge, because they're still driving that Ford Expedition from 2003, 2004, somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
it's really old.
Yeah, so,
Looking bad.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and no other discussion? Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Bryson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yep.
Commissioner Hillfrank?
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke?
Yes,
Commissioner Ross?
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch?
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you.
We've got item 11E, Police Department, patrol car equipment purchase. Can I have a motion to waive competitive bidding for the purchase and install police department patrol car equipment from Synergy Products?
Make a motion that we waive competitive bidding on the installation of police equipment from Synergy Products.
Support.
Okay, motion and a support. Any discussion?
Yeah.
This one, this is your normal guy, right, or, you know?
This is my normal guy. Went to him, I think when I first took over as chief 8-9 years ago. He works with us. He gives us a very good deal on this. They do outstanding work on our patrol cars. We've never had any issues. If we've had a minor wire come undone, he'll either FaceTime us, Jason and I will go out, we'll throw our hats on, try to figure it out, or he'll actually drive out here and take care of the problem for us. They're a great company, and Patrick is my guy that I work with all the time, and they do a good job.
And his product is compatible with your current products.
100%,
That-
yes.
That's good.
Just lost what I was gonna ask you. I see you got the not to exceed. You wanna even it out at 35 just to make sure? You're,
I'm good with that number. I think that number's still gonna be high. We can talk about that when we get to the bid, and I can explain that further.
all right,
That was my plan if I made the motion.
okay.
I just had a
Wait.
comment. Jim, I totally trust your judgment on this, and I'm going to vote yes on waiving the bidding.
Yes.
But I would personally like to see some quotes.
Okay.
Just to make sure we're getting the right deal
Fair enough.
going forward. And that's not just for you, that's for any of the department heads that come asking to waive competitive bidding. I know when Mike's here, when he asks to waive competitive bidding, often it's something that we can't get anywhere else. You know, that I can understand. Just looking at, there was Cruisers out of Howell is another business that outfits police cars. So there's other options out there, and I would just like to see the quotes, just to be sure we're getting the right
Nope,
price.
I completely agree with you. There are several out there. There's one out of Lansing, there's one out of Howell, there's one out of Livonia. He's out of Troy. Like I said, I've utilized this company for years, never had any issues, and he's given us significant deals on little things here and there, so
Okay.
I know he'll do a good job, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yep.
Commissioner Hillfrank?
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke?
yes,
Commissioner Ross?
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Hey, can I have a motion to approve the purchase of the police department patrol car equipment and installation from Synergy Products not to exceed $34,712.68?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, motion and support, discussion.
Question. What about your decals?
Decals are about $700-800, and we get those right through Parkside. I have funding for that. I
Okay.
won't need ARPA funds for that.
All right.
Yes.
Just checking, make sure you got everything covered.
So with this one, I've talked to Patrick about this. One of the patrol cars I'm gonna need to completely strip and then put all, well, maybe 75% new stuff in. Some new visor lights, et cetera, but we're gonna need a new computer mount, a new console for the radios, et cetera. The other car is gonna need to be partially stripped because I'm gonna be taking that one over. So although there are 2 quotes in here for 17,000-ish, it's a brand new build. So it should be significantly cheaper because we're gonna reuse as much as we can out of the 2 patrol cars we currently have. So this is the most somebody would spend, and just say we had 0 equipment, we take the patrol car to them, say, okay, outfit us accordingly with the 17th, it won't be that much, so.
Anything else? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hilfrank.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yep.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Right, moving to item 11G. It's the ordinance 2023-002, introduction, the water and sewer rate increase.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2023-002 for introduction, first reading, the water and sewer rate increase.
Support.
Okay, motion and a support, discussion.
So yeah, we had talked about this during our budget meeting. We had held off on raising water and sewer rates. It's obviously not a popular thing, but we had held off on raising them. And in my most recent training, they cautioned that, municipalities, especially with older infrastructure, really need to make sure that they're balancing out and appropriately charging on what it would cost to redo their water and sewer. And we've kind of been kicking the can for a while. They recommended that you get a, specific water and sewer study. And I believe Mike said that we did have one, and they recommended actually that we need to raise the rates by 7%. So, that's to sort of cover and be able to, the idea is you charge for water and sewer, you upkeep your facilities, and then you also, pigeonhole away money so that in the future you can replace that infrastructure, those pipes, those lines. That's what that money is for. So, because we have quite a bit of infrastructure, that, to be fair, was about the amount that we need to do, or needed to do. But I think 3% lands on a, very minor uplift, and hopefully not too much to, get too much into people's pockets. But we did not take this lightly, and just want you to know that we are doing this as slowly and carefully as we can.
Anyone else?
Part of this, though, you gotta be clarified, the ready-to-serve fees are for the repairs, not necessarily the water rate itself increase. That goes for processing and all the water and stuff. The ready-to-serve fees are the ones that we have to put aside for the repairs and maintenance of the system, and that's a requirement by the state. But yes, you have to do it. It's an enterprise fund. My question is, what are we doing with last year we had 50,000 in unpaid bills. Are we gonna do something with that in the future so that?
Yeah, I'll speak to a little bit on that right now. We'll have more information for you in the future. However, we are gonna be looking at policies on the delinquent collections. I'm also gonna work with Mr. Davis. I think we need to consider potentially some ordinance changes and looking at the way our structure is. Again, the sooner you can make the effort to collect the delinquencies, the better your chances are of collecting.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we want to address and fine tune our time frame as well.
Yeah.
We had, at least I think we had given some moratoriums on some of the,
But we had put this in though, like,
yeah, it's time.
almost 2 years ago, we put a
time
thing in
to-
to try to stop delinquencies because it was getting pretty out of hand.
Yes.
I'll also add that prior to some of those other revisions, we still have a process that we're going forward with.
Yeah.
And we are starting again, the shut-off notices are out. and we're going to be going forward and working that. We still will work with residents
Yeah.
on reasonable payment plans. The last thing we want to do is shut off any utilities, but we also want to protect these folks from getting farther and farther behind to where it almost becomes impossible to pay off those. So we're going to continue to work with the residents, but we're going to start to send the notices out, and then again, try to encourage to get those payments, to encourage payment plans, but ultimately to pay off that debt before.
And there
it
is some help for some of the people. I know you guys have put out
Yes, we put out some,
online.
and bear in mind, we're not discounting anybody's bill.
Correct.
We're just extending payment terms.
Yes.
You know, I will let you all know that the difficulty, unfortunately, is there are programs out there that are available for folks, and you'd be surprised at how many people do not want to complete the required paperwork from those organizations, because sometimes it's a pride issue, sometimes it's an issue of I don't want to share my income details, but it's largely income-based. Many people qualify, but they just don't want to take that step. If the program's there, we encourage them to take the steps and you know, use the program to help yourself.
Yep.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
No.
Commissioner Hillfrank,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay. On to item 11I, Board and Committee Consolidation Discussion. This was requested by Commissioner Hillfrank, so what is the plan or proposal on that?
Well, I'm not the only one on this board. What do you guys think?
Well, I think we got too many boards too, but I'd like to have our city manager kind of look at them to see if he can give us some
Which ones?
recommendations.
Personally, I think TIFA and CED could be combined, and 300 Broadway and Historical Commission could be combined. There's a lot of redundancy there. Our clerk is constantly complaining how many meetings and work they have to do. Same thing with the city manager. So that's my proposal.
What were those two, Mike?
TIFA and CED, and 300 Broadway and Historical.
Commissioner, thank you. I mean, I certainly have already had some of those thoughts in the same line, that we're kind of duplicating what we're doing.
We had the second group. We had talked about the second group. The first one's interesting. That was
The second, what do you mean?
your second suggestion, combining historical and,
Oh, you guys talked about the historical one?
yeah, we had kind of come up with that one.
Yeah, I actually was talking to business owners at the plaza there about marijuana issues, and Bob Weisenbaugh, I think, is that right? He's the owner in there at Bayside Bling, and I was talking to him, and he thinks it may be a good idea to look into getting into a DDA, because the TIFA's not doing anything. They meet twice a year. They literally are doing nothing.
So one of the future discussions that we're likely to have is we're going forward and doing amendments and modifications and updates to the master plan, the recreation plan. We're also, as most of you know, engaged in the redevelopment ready program with the state of Michigan. One of the recommendations that has already been put forth by that group is to consider reinstating a DDA. I believe it was here in one place at one time. Things have changed structurally, and we'll be having that discussion as part of that master plan update. But I also, I've mentioned just briefly before this meeting with the mayor that I wanted to share with each of you that we may be asking for a few little workshop meetings, perhaps prior to our regular commission meetings, where we can have this deeper discussion and really get more input and have a flow of discussion of moving forward of not just the committees, but other structural pieces that we can implement and put in place. So I look forward to that discussion with all of you, and I like the recommendations that are already being brought forward, and I'm sure we're going to have plenty more work in progress, but it's a good start.
So Mike, right before you came on board in November of '22, I wrote a pretty 9-page memo outlining how we could start a DDA.
Okay.
I was-
Yeah, if you could, yeah. send
I'll
that.
recirculate that,
Yeah, please.
maybe not tomorrow,
When you can. Yeah.
but certainly sometime before Monday.
Okay. So what's the plan? We're gonna get workshops going and discuss consolidating. Are we gonna set
Yeah.
a date for those workshops, or?
Well, we were gonna potentially schedule a first one for 45 minutes or an hour before the next regular meeting, right? We were thinking of
Right.
that.
And that would be more organizational.
More of a meeting organizational workshop, and then we would get on to these.
Okay.
But I'll circulate the DDA. It's kind of a question and answer memo format. You know, what is a DDA? How do you form a DDA? Could we form a DDA? What would it look like? How do they get funded? How do they get money? How do they capture money? It walks you right through it, Mike.
The other thing I don't want to forget, it's kind of off topic, but Bob wanted me to inquire, what happened to the list of grants that the grant writers were supposed to leave with us that we could apply for each year? Do we have anything on file regarding that? I know it's been quite a while, but he wanted me to inquire about it.
We do have a list of some grants. However, Commissioner, it changes constantly, so that's going to be a regularly updated document. We don't have as much from the previous grant writer as I think we'd like to have. But again, working with staff in-house here, we've begun to refine that list of what's available. And I've talked to a couple other commissioners who have called. The grant world changes constantly, but I've also talked a little bit with Mr. Davis.
Yeah, some are consistent.
We want to look at a kind of a grant policy as well, that commission can, set some framework and guidelines of how we go through this. So there's just a lot of stuff. It's a rapid fire, but it's one of those items right in there as well.
We were paying Strategic Communication Solutions, which was a pretty big firm, for over a year, $5,000 a month.
Yep.
And they were supposed to leave us a list of stuff we could apply for, but they were just working on the hotel grant, I guess. So I don't know if that list ever materialized.
I haven't seen that list. I've seen other lists that, again, that have been put together in-house, but glad to do that. I look forward to the discussion with the commission.
Didn't we get rid of Tifa about 8 years ago? And we kept the board there, but
we
didn't give
did.
them any authority.
Yeah.
We, best words, Bill, would be we shelved Tifa in accordance with the law that allowed you to shelf it, because getting rid of it entirely, very difficult to resurrect it, so we didn't take all the air out of it. We put it on a shelf, and we are complying with the minimum requirements of keeping it on that shelf. That's what we've ultimately voted to do.
We're not doing anything with Tifa right now, it's just shelf.
That's correct. It's
And
still
we
on
did
that
that
shelf.
a few
It's still on
years
the,
ago, yeah.
still on the shelf, Bill.
Okay.
This is another one of Bob's comment. He claimed that Tifa can actually tax 1% above businesses that are in the district. I have no clue, because we were discussing the marijuana dispensary, and I had said that we can't tax sales, and he was insistent that Tifa can establish some sort of tax above and beyond. You know, anything like that?
No, I'd have to look at that. I mean, you're talking whether or not they have the right to have a dedicated millage.
I don't know if
The way our TIF program was working is we were doing the tax incremental capture.
Yeah.
So we were we had a baseline value of property values, and then we captured the taxation above
Yep.
from different entities, not just the taxes that come in normally, but from, like, we took college money and county money.
Yeah, very.
I was
very
unaware
familiar.
that we had any other taxing going on at this.
Yeah, I don't know if we had it. He just said there was an ability to do that. I have no clue.
It could be under the law that you can get money from grants, you can get money from different things, and you can do the tax capture. But maybe there is a 1% millage requirement that is allowed.
Yeah, I'm gonna look
I
into
know
it
the DDA
myself.
has some of that authority.
Certain statutory districts do have a taxing component.
Yeah, like a DDA.
Because, yeah, with a dispensary, we, as a city, can't tax their sales at all. But there is, maybe if it was a DDA possibility.
I'll take a look at, that's interesting.
I know when it is allowed by statute in certain authorities, it has to be done district-wide, so you can't just pick business.
Right.
For the regular
Yeah,
tax,
yeah.
aside from a special assessment. But there are certain statutory pieces, and I look forward to working with Mr. Davis. We've already had discussion on some of these to really bring forth and see what works best for the city.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, moving on to item 11J. Opposing the use of county ARPA funds for the 26 Mile Road Corridor project. And for transparency purposes, my husband is a county commissioner. And Mike,
Yeah.
Commissioner Hillfrank wanted this brought up.
So I think this is super important for us to talk about. Obviously, this is a hot topic in the county. I don't know how many of you guys just attended the 26-mile corridor discussion or town hall at the Harvest Event Center. Wasn't this Wednesday, previous Wednesday, the 26th. But yeah, the response there was overwhelming that people don't want these funds used to develop 26 Mile. They don't want these funds used to give to Ira Township to develop a water plant to support businesses. They don't want any of that. What they want to see is an equal distribution of the money to the different districts. So I think we should talk about that. You know, I know on the board, there's at least, on the county board, there's at least 2, possibly 3 commissioners up there that want to see the money equally distributed. And I know China Township, they passed a resolution opposing the use of ARPA funds for the 26-mile development. And also, there's several other townships to the north that did so as well. So yeah, I just wanted to gauge the pulse of this board, how they feel about using all that money for 26 Mile and the development. I mean, obviously, we could use more of that money. We had the $500,000 pump at the water plant that just broke. We got 30 million plus in infrastructure and road needs. So we could obviously use, I believe they have $16 million left that they're trying to figure out a good thing to do with. And it just doesn't seem like they know anything good to do with it besides talk about 26 Mile. So I think the more that they hear from the community, the more the pressures they get from the different communities to maybe distribute those funds or ask communities about projects that they really need to submit. I think there's a huge advantage there for us personally if we were to file a resolution for that.
Okay. Hey, Mike, have you come up with a resolution? 'Cause I'm in agreement with that.
So China Township, in my email, I said if you guys want me to provide a copy, I'd be glad to, and I didn't get a reply on that. So I kind of assumed that the resolution would be in the packet. Unfortunately, it's not. But I can email it to everybody. I'm actually looking at it right now.
Mike, I didn't like that one, only for the reason it said, give the money to all the townships and the villages. And it leaves out the word cities. We gotta get the word cities.
Yeah. I mean, it was just.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, it was just a framework, you know, just to get an idea of
We wanna
what
get the
the
word,
resolutions
we wanna
are.
get the word cities in there.
Yeah, are looking like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's essentially the resolution is what I just said, to oppose the use of the ARPA funds for Ira Township's water plant and to distribute the money equally. That's essentially what China Township's resolution is.
Well, that resolution did not pass it passed, but not by the whole board. There was conflict
It
there.
was 3-2, wasn't it?
3-2.
2 people were missing, right?
I think is it a 5-person board?
2 absent and 3-2
I think
vote.
2 absent.
Oh, was there 2 absent?
The thing too with this whole thing on the 26 mile, I went to the meeting also, and I listened to everybody and people had some really good points. The issue is that even if you put in, this is mainly for sewer, and they want to run the sewer line down and come up Palms and then possibly work with a plant, but the biggest issue is it's not going to change the road. So all the money will go into the infrastructure for the sewer line, but the gentleman from the county road commission was there, and he said, first, maybe 3 lanes if he can find a grant. And he said anything else would be, what, 10 years or more?
Yeah.
Before anything would ever change. So technically, the road itself isn't going to change anytime soon, except for adding 10 times more traffic to it, which isn't going to help anybody either. So, yeah, it definitely needs to be discussed.
I went to not this one, but the prior one at also Harvest. And what they were discussing was actually that nothing would necessarily come, I mean, they were at that time talking about the expansion of lanes and things like this. But obviously, if they're now saying that the money isn't there for
Yeah.
it, that's a different story. But one bright spot I saw in it was potentially better utilization of our water and sewer plant, because that was needed. if any development gets, out this far.
But that was like three phases. There's the first phase, the second phase,
that's a
and,
lot.
I mean, we'd be way so far down the road. It's gonna hit Ira first, and then Cotterville, and more than likely Clay would be helping them. And it's not gonna get to us anytime soon, at the rate that he showed on the map there that night.
Do you have any idea how much our share would be if they did distribute it equally?
So 16 million, I believe the figure was right around 3. 16 million divided by 7, maybe it's a little bit less than 3, whatever 16 million divided by 7 is.
But they're also still
Just over
coming
2.
up with more ideas, of county things to use it on as well.
They had 23 million, so they have 23 million left, and they put up 7 million of a list that they're gonna be dealing with as far as county buildings, that it's coming off that 23 with 16
Yeah, that was from the
left.
administrator, and then there's commissioners that are also coming up with additional
Sure.
department things as well. Can we, what if, in the form of some sort of a resolution, could we make it more, and I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this, that we would, instead of any other generalized projects, just prefer that it comes, whatever the county has left after county projects and county spending, that they distribute it amongst us
An equitable
in equitable way.
distribution to all
For
municipalities.
local use and local decision-making?
I mean, our resolution is not going to
No,
make them do anything, so it really doesn't matter what the wording is.
You just want it to sound more positive. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, because we are involved with Ira Township
Yeah.
in grants through the fire authority, the regional grants and things. We also share in providing services with Ira and Cotterville Township.
right.
We also provide services, water service lines into China. We just had Mike, talk to us at our budget meetings about, we share a redundancy system with the water plants with East China Township.
Right.
So I don't necessarily want to start going after municipalities and to say, well, Marine City's against what we want. I would like to maintain that. And I think that our resolution will have the same effect, saying that instead of it going to these special projects, if we just want to say, distribute it amongst the cities, the townships, the villages,
I would
without
think,
calling out certain municipalities and certain projects.
I would think potentially there would be other, certainly townships and cities that would buy into that of an equitable distribution of the remaining funds. And maybe it's not a bad approach to be the first ones. Commissioner, as you said, they may not listen to it, they may ignore it, but it may also get some others to start thinking, again, we've got a whole northern portion of this county that I'm sure those folks aren't, happy of the same situation and don't care whether it's Ira or this, it's just the fact that it's not fair across the board.
Yep.
So that type of resolution does sustain the working relationship with our immediate neighbors in the townships without making anybody feel that they're being pointed out, because if they buy into it as well, as far as a fair and equitable distribution across all municipalities, then everybody wins.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, just fair distribution of the money is all
And
I'm
that's a
saying.
very easy resolution
Mike,
to
you want us to
put
craft
together.
one like that?
I mean, yeah, essentially I'm gonna make a motion to craft a resolution to fairly distribute the,
County ARPA.
yeah.
The remaining county ARPA funds.
Is that what we're gonna say, remaining? So if there's $1,000 remaining, I mean,
The
Whatever.
Unallocated?
currently undedicated? Because that's what it's doing right now. It's just sitting there. It's not dedicated for any purpose.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Looking if you.
I mean, it just says, just resembling what China says. So in there, the Charter Township of China Board of Trustees opposes the use of 14 million ARPA federal monies that are being considered by the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners for water filtration project in Ira because it's disproportionate use of additional approximately remaining 23 million ARPA federal monies that should be made available to benefit all townships, villages, within the county of St. Clair and
So you
cities.
can use
It's
that
not
figure,
the
just
burning
cut out.
bridges
Yeah.
Just cut out the Ira Township.
So we're just word crafting. I mean, basically, we're saying the same message.
Yeah,
And I
we're-
think the other thing is it does protect this city that if there's some other future funding in the, in the way of public works or public infrastructure, we don't have somebody pointing the finger back at us saying, well, now we're not in favor of that because you went after our community. This way, no, we're asking for the same thing for everybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Fair and equal distribution. I don't know how that's burning a bridge, man. I'm confused.
Because that calls out IRA specifically.
Well, no, I'm
It
not-
says we don't like the
That's what I
fact.
said.
I'm
You
just
just
saying
want it
that's an
generic.
example. That's fine.
that's
That
what
was
I'm
just
saying.
their example
That's-
that they use. I don't care. You don't have to put IRA in there.
We can work one
That
out.
was,
Yeah.
that was, yeah.
Yeah, that's-
We would
That's-
So
float,
when we looked
why I
at that
think
one
it's
as the
burning bridges, though.
example to
we, I
use,
think
that's
we
why
would
we
float
wanted to
around
craft
that
it.
one a little
Yeah.
and make it just a more.
Yeah, just the fair
A more
distribution
positive,
of
more
the money
positive
is fine.
resolution.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that.
So, yeah.
So that's your resolution?
Well, where is everybody
Poor
getting that
Jason's
money
going, what?
to?
Craft a resolution, that's all I'm.
Where is everybody getting the information that Ira Township's gonna get all this money?
At
From the county
meeting.
commissioners.
Yeah.
It was at the meeting.
The meetings for the last 3 months.
No, I've been to 3 of them and I didn't hear that, so.
He presented a map at
And
the
I know
last
that,
meeting.
that we have a water plant, a sewer plant, and we can sell water to other communities. Are we gonna bind ourselves up?
No, but they're putting in
Because-
a brand-new sewer line down there. They're trying to run they got water down there.
They're not gonna
trying to
run it
a
up
new
here.
sewer. They're trying to run a sewer coming from county line towards Palms and then down Palms to M29 to connect. That's the first phase. The second phase is gonna be getting a sewer line, and I think a water line at that point, to get to Starville Road. And then there's a third phase. So the first phase is just a sewer line going along 26, coming up Palms Road, going to M29.
I think we have somebody in the audience that has specific
Ira
knowledge of this.
Township does not have a wastewater treatment plant.
Correct.
They go through Algonac plant.
Yep.
Right.
Ira Township has a water filtration plant for fresh drinking water.
Yes.
So they're asking for money to build their own wastewater treatment,
Wastewater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
which
Okay.
they're at, Algonac's plant is the line coming through the St. John's Marsh from Ira to Algonac's plant is at capacity. It cannot be expanded. The state will not allow a new line or a larger line through the marsh.
I can see that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. for
So
that.
I will make a motion then to direct the attorney to craft a resolution to ask that the county commissioners use the remaining portions of the ARPA federal monies to be made available to benefit all townships, cities, and what was the last one?
Villages.
Villages.
Equally.
Equally, yeah.
You want to say equally?
Equally, yeah, sorry.
I'll support that.
Or just say cities.
Yeah.
Cities is good.
Cities is good.
You can say all communities.
Okay,
All local units of government.
Municipalities.
so got the motion and support? All right,
Lisa supported it.
Yep, I did.
all right, is that an all in favor, roll call?
That's just the all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. We have no items removed from the consent agenda. And administrative reports, A, city attorney report.
Nothing to report, except I finished on mostly my own time your FOIA policy documents, which I'll be distributing prior to your next meeting. There's some benefit to getting those in place and getting them on your website. It gives your FOIA coordinator some extra benefits under the law. We talked about it during the FOIA training. So I got those completed, and you'll have those before your next meeting. Probably no action on those at your next meeting because it's a lot of reading. But shortly thereafter, we should get them in place and get them on your website. Having them on your website is important. So, anyways, that's it.
So we'd need to make a motion to put it on the website perhaps, but.
But maybe, yeah, as soon as you guys think it's ready. I think it's ready.
All right, 13B, the city manager report.
Well, thank you, everyone. We're off and running, as I had mentioned. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be helping, meeting with all of you, working towards a common goal. I like how we opened the meeting by May the 4th be with you. So Star Wars fans, May the 4th be with you. And Cinco de Mayo fans, That's tomorrow. You get your chance. So I hope the commission appreciated the weekly kind of update that I give, and I try to do that, and we'll try to do it as a weekly update unless things get bogged down. I think that's very helpful. Eventually, it'll probably go to a Thursday, but right now I'm distributing it kind of on a Monday so I can catch up on things that may happen from the commission meeting. So I hope you find that helpful. Really looking forward to us diving into a lot more. The police chief, of course, he ran out. You notice his hairstyle has changed, and I like that because I think I'm already, causing some positive impact. So, but I really appreciate everybody coming on board. Bob's working on it
I'm next,
slightly.
I think.
Slightly, but I appreciate everybody, really, reaching out, and it's very helpful. We've got a lot of work to do, but we're doing it together, and we're going to work to do the best for the most. And I really appreciate the support and the questions and all of the little items, including some cables that need to be fixed at the bottom of one of our commissioners' feet so she doesn't get entangled. So we'll work on that. The only other thing that I have is I just want to let everyone know that the M29 resurfacing project that was scheduled to happen in East China Township north of our limits did not start Monday because of rain, nor Tuesday, nor Wednesday, nor today, and not tomorrow, but is scheduled to start now on Monday the 8th. So there will be lane restrictions. Obviously there'll be some impact even into the city, but hopefully it'll be a very simple project that will be timely in completion because it is really just kind of a mill fill resurfacing. So other information I'll be glad to share with you. Hot information as it comes in will be shared as soon as it gets here, and everything else I'll try to fit into a weekly update that doesn't bore you to tears. So thank you all, and I look forward to a lot of good things happening, and thank you to all the residents and business folks who've reached out to in the past couple of weeks. So it's very nice and inviting, and it's good to be home. So thank you.
All right. And reports from department heads.
They all ran out the door.
See?
They all
No,
left.
they're out the door.
They had a call.
New haircut.
Kojak took off.
They had a call.
I have nothing. I
I knew it.
have nothing.
You have nothing?
My department has nothing. I'm here.
Thank you.
I have nothing.
You want to run out the door now too?
Yes.
All right. Moving to 14 commissioner privilege and liaison reports, and we'll start Commissioner Clausen.
Well, we are waiting for maps and stuff for the county for the marijuana stuff, and they're waiting for the county to print them. So the commission meeting has been canceled and set for the 20th, is it?
22nd.
22nd.
I believe we've moved to.
Is when the planning commission will meet again. Hopefully we'll have the maps then. And I just want to say there's a lot of talk going on, a lot of stuff going on. I'm in a lot of townships and stuff, and that's why I voted no, only because a lot of stuff is endo, and they're fighting with each other, and I'm not going to get involved in that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bryson?
I have nothing tonight.
Commissioner Hillfrank?
Okay. I was super torn about doing this, and honestly, we do need to just move on. That'll make more sense in a second. But, this city in the past has had its battles with lawsuits, quite a few. Bob, I think it's awesome we haven't had any since you've been here. Good job. But in the past, it's been pretty bad. We've been exposed to quite a few. And I am concerned, absolutely concerned, about another lawsuit over a First Amendment violation for Mr. Hardin's letter here. We can't just arbitrarily apply rules because we don't like the content of a letter. We had a precedent that was set. We read the letters from people. So I think it's a violation completely of this man's rights by not doing what he requested to do. So I'm going to carefully read portions of this letter. It's now time for Marine City to move on, especially since there is new leadership. I believe that what Verkaman attempted to do to Commissioner Hendrick last year was inexcusable and an act of total retaliation against Hendrick, which then began the downward spiral and eventual demise and loss of respect by many Marine City residents for Mayor Verkaman. However, we have seen that Ms. Verkaman is not done causing chaos as she continues to spew her disdain during public comment for newly elected Commissioner Mike Hillfrank and also for Lisa Hendrick. What happened to Mr. Hillfrank has happened to me personally after my divorce and to others when a child is involved. This is a low blow by Verkaman in her attempt to retaliate against Hillfrank, as this is a very personal issue for Commissioner Hillfrank. But this action by Verkaman attests to her true character. But what has now come to light and is very troubling is the two-faced double standard comment that was made by a Marine City committee member and chair, Joseph Moran, during public comment session at the February 22nd, 2023 commission meeting. During the March 16th, 2023 commission meeting, a non-Marine City resident named Alan Richley presented many disturbing but truthful facts regarding Verkaman's past history, and while exercising his First Amendment right of free speech, Richley did use some swear words. Mr. Moran, during his public comment session time to speak, then called out Mr. Richley for this so-called inappropriate language while referring to Verkaman. Mr. Moran evidently lives by two standards, though. Moran, during his public comment speech on February 2nd, 2023, and while using a particular swear word himself, did indirectly and intentionally but subliminally indicate by his own words that the current commission or certain commission members may possibly experience some unfortunate life experiences, as Moran then stated while looking at the commissioners that karma is a bitch. Moran called Mr. Richley out on his use of foul language, yet Moran also used language himself that was inappropriate for children to hear. So it appears that Mr. Moran can imply that something negative or catastrophic may soon happen to some commissioners because of a majority decision. Yet it's not okay for Mr. Richley to use a few cuss words when referring to Verkaman. Evidently, committee member Moran, and at times chairperson of some Marine City committees, can freely say what he wants to say, but speaking freely doesn't apply to others. You, Mr. Moran, now owe the commission a heartfelt apology no matter what you may think regarding the majority's decision. You, Mr. Moran, should also consider resigning your positions on the committees that you currently serve on for your blatant, destructive, and mean comment regarding karma to the commission members. Signed, James Harden, Lexington, Michigan. And I apologize, Mr. Harden, that this took so long to get on the agenda. I did fight for you for the last month to get this on the agenda. I felt it was pretty inappropriate for it not to be there, but hopefully this will keep us from any lawsuits. Secondly,
Can I make a comment, Mike?
Sure.
Just legally, your assertion that we're adjudicating what we read based on content is a very dangerous statement from a legal sense. Nobody made a judgment on this letter.
it's just my opinion.
Just let me finish. It needs to be clear that the reason this letter involving the prior city manager wasn't read was because this commission as a board voted to approve a severance agreement that had a paragraph on non-disparagement clause. The decision had nothing to do with content. That's a serious filtering word that was not employed here. It was strictly due to the settlement agreement.
Okay. That's not what I heard, but that's okay. The other thing I would like to say, I'm a little concerned with the decision-making process on this board. We got people smirking with satisfaction over votes, and we got other people that are plain out lying about things. And I just don't think that's fair. I think people need to put personal vendettas aside and just make sound decisions using the merits of the issue that we are discussing. Not personal vendettas, not personal beliefs or opinions. We are elected as representatives of the people, and we're supposed to represent the majority, okay? So we make decisions up here. Sometimes those decisions are hard. Sometimes those decisions are gonna piss some people off, okay? But at the end of the day, our job is to make the majority happy, to go and make decisions for the majority. We cannot let the minority dictate the policies for 4,000 people. That's inappropriate. That's not sound decision-making at all. And I really, really hope that going forward, this commission is mindful of that. That's all I got.
Commissioner Ross?
Thanks. I want to congratulate Mariner Drama, on a lighter note, for their great musical, The Music Man. Saw both nights. It was absolutely wonderful. Everyone should give themselves a round of applause for that. Just a reminder to order or purchase your backflow preventers. Mike Kittredge brought this up as an item on a previous meeting. This is to make sure that if we have a water hose out or something, a water main breaks, and it might draw suction actually through our lines, that we don't contaminate it. So this is for the health and benefit of everyone. I ordered mine and installed them the other day. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Trish May. Thank you for helping us in the selection committee. Scott, welcome, and I hope that we've made a good decision in getting you on board. And that is it. Everybody have a great weekend.
Commissioner Rourke?
I'd just like to thank all the people that have volunteered to continue the Maritime Days, and I hope you have a good summer. Thanks.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Well, big thing I want to do is thank our city manager for keeping it under 4 hours. We're at 2. Hallelujah. So that's it.
We'll try to keep chipping it down.
I just have a couple things. Marine City Little League is having their opening ceremonies this Saturday at 9 o'clock at the Little League field next to the Lions Club. For anybody that can come out for that if they see this prior to that. Reminder of people that there are board vacancies available on several of our boards. If you would like to learn more about that, you can go to our website. Also come in the city offices for applications to those boards. And again, I'd like to thank the Marine City Festival Group for working on the Maritime Days to keep that tradition going. All right.
Right.
And with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. We're fighting
All in
for it.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed?